Hello and welcome back to the Beantown Phoenix, our OOTP25 playthrough with the Boston Red Sox. Today, we're going to see if we can go any deeper into the playoffs. If not, we'll do an off-season thing. The first thing we need to get taken care of, though, however, is to go into Rafael Devers' strategy page. And we need to try and see if... yeah. Let's see if I can take control of game strategy. Oh, wait, here we go. Yeah, pinch hit for him? Never. Like, don't do it. Because that was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. So, with that fixed, hopefully, now we can go into this and have a better chance of winning this. Me and Cora had a discussion, I was like, you're not doing that again. So, now we're going to go into this game against Minnesota, and we won that game. So now we have the decider. And for those of you new to our channel, we always play the deciders out. So we're going to go in, take a look at this game. We're going to be starting Tanner Houck is the decision that Cora has made. He's going to be going up against Joe Ryan, which is a tough matchup for him. Basically same lineups as the first time we played. Let's see if there's anything different on our side. No, not really. So off we go. And this should be an interesting one. This is a chance to take us deeper in the playoffs than we could have possibly imagined at the start of the season. So here we go. Wildcard series. We are looking to make something stick here. We'll see how it goes. At home, of course. And we're gonna start it with a Wilyer Abreu, or sorry, with an Edward Julian ground out to Trevor Story. Here comes Carlos Correa. And all we really need, I think, from Houck is just don't give up more than like 4 runs. Like if Houck gets us through with like 4 innings, 4 runs, I think we'll actually be okay, as bad as that sounds. So we'll see what we can do about that. This one is into right. It might go out. Well, um, okay. That's not great. Huh. Well, we've not gotten a chance to bat yet, and we're already 2-0 down. Byron Buxton is now up, and he strikes out, thank goodness. But Houck is going to have to do a lot better job just not giving up quite as much contact. That one does fly out to right, but even still, there was way too much contact in that inning. We're going to move to the bottom of the first, though, and we'll have a chance to reply. Joe Ryan is a really good pitcher, so we're not gonna play him down. This is gonna be tough, but we'll see what we can do. Wilyer Abreu strikes out. Masataka Yoshida just hoping to get bat on ball. This is pretty deep. It might go. It does go. All right. So we get one back. All right, we're grooving. Yoshida hits his first home run of the postseason, and all of a sudden it's 2-1. Not looking so bad. Tristan Cassis now up. And I would love to get some production out of him. He has just not been great. Yeah, he's having a tough playoff so far. So on to Devers, who will no longer be removed for Connor Wong, and we'll see what he can do with it. This one's just going to be a ground out. So we get 1 run out of the inning. Keep it close. Keep it close. Not too bad. And now Tanner Houck is going to face sort of the bottom of the Minnesota lineup. 3 balls, 1 strike. Here's the pitch. This one should be easily dealt with. Yeah. All right. So 1 out as we move on to Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo, he can still hit tanks, but that one is, oh, come on. Our defense has been so bad this series. Okay, well, that's going to be a single for Gallo. I really thought that was going to be a ground out to the second base, but again, Houck allowing a lot of contact. I kind of would hope that somebody is at least thinking about warming, and there's another error from Devers. That's yeah, defense and pitching. We've got some areas for improvement, that is for sure. Christian Vasquez now up. We should be able to get him out fairly easily, but of course he hits a single. This is going to allow a run, I have to think. Yeah, that play, the plate is not even close. That, that was hilarious. Just dove back towards his dugout because the camera was late. Anyway, so 3-1 to the Twins. And if I were managing this game, I think I would have taken Houck out by now because he just clearly doesn't have it. But Cora's gonna let him go, and he's gonna walk Julian. Um, you know, I'm sitting up in the box. I'm trying to make calls down, but I don't think I can really do too much about this realistically. It just has to be what it's going to be. This could be a play at the plate. It is. And then what in the world was that? All right. Well, the throw to first didn't work. But we did get the play at the plate. And now all it will take is any kind of out. That should do it unless this one's also going to go. No. Wow. Man, that looked like it was floating, but the wind is blowing out to the right, so just kind of rode the wind on its way out of here. And yeah, now is time for a different pitcher if the time for a different pitcher hadn't already passed about 3 batters ago. So Cutter Crawford is going to come in. Alex Cora trusts him to get the final out of the inning. He's got 2 strikes on Byron Buxton, and that one's going to be a third. So really good from Cutter Crawford, really terrible for Tanner Houck. And now our offense has a big, big hill to climb against Joe Ryan. Vaughn Grissom's going to lead it off for us. Jarren Duran behind him. And that probably is going to be caught in left field. Yeah, no problem there for Gallo. And so Duran and then Story are the next 2 up in this inning. Jarren Duran had a really good season for us. And that one is hit very strangely, but off the wall, I think. And we're going to go to second base. Double for Duran, and now a chance for Story or McGuire to send him home. And he's fast, so it wouldn't take much. Unfortunately, Story is going to strike out. Joe Ryan is dealing pretty well so far. Hasn't even walked a batter yet. He does have 4 balls, but he's going to get Reese McGuire to ground out. And we'll waste the double, but yeah, it's really just down to pitching keeping it close, and the offense is going to keep plugging away. Cutter Crawford strikes out Matt Wallner, so that's 2 strikeouts for 2 batters. Pretty good from him so far. He's going to go up against Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres also 2 strikes on him. Does he strike out? He does. Interesting call from the ump, but we'll take it. And now Joey Gallo out. Can we have 4 batters, 4 strikeouts? It's Joey Gallo, so it's not that unlikely. And we do. So Cutter Crawford clearly should have started the game. That is 4 batters, 4 strikeouts for Cutter Crawford, and he is doing his darndest to keep us in this thing. Sedano Rafael is going to lead off the inning for us. Joe Ryan's still in. That is a well-hit ball out into the gap and right, and this should be 2 at least. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty easy double bagger, and he's going to stop at second. And now we have another inning started off with a guy on second. Wilyer Abreu can maybe do something about that. That gets through between first and second, and I don't think he's going to go. Yeah. Just not quite deep enough for Rafaela to go, but first and third, good situation, and Masataka Yoshida, who has the only run of the game so far, back up at the plate. He has had a blistering series so far, and he's gonna get beamed. So obviously not intentional from Joe Ryan, but 3 batters now on base, bases loaded. Tristan Cassis at the plate. He's had a bit of an interesting one, but yeah, it's gonna continue. Yeah, that hurts, but we do get a run. So 2 outs now, and Rafaela does go home. Wilyer Abreu's still on third with Devers at the plate. Grissom behind him in case we get another hit. Can we get one through? We do, through that same gap between first and second, and that is going to be another run. So we're slowly but surely just kind of eating into that Twins lead. Vaughn Grissom now at the plate. We'd love to extend this inning, but we do have 2 outs. And I really hope that Devers made that decision and that the third base coach didn't, because I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Hold on, am I crazy? Rafael Devers has 30 speed and 30 stealing aggressiveness. So that had to have been a coach call. So so far we've got questions for our manager and questions for our third base coach. If everybody's keeping track, this playoffs. That ends the inning for us. Cutter Crawford now back up, trying to make it 5 strikeouts in 5. This one is not going to be a strikeout. This one's going to go into right. Not quite caught, just a little bit too shallow. Drops in for a base hit. And we will have Christian Vasquez up. Cutter Crawford deals to him. This one should float into center really nicely for Rafaela. No problem for him. And Kepler's still on first with Edward Julian and then Carlos Correa behind him. Double play would look nice. Rain is beginning to fall. Interesting. And he might get him stealing? No. But we do get the strikeout. So Cutter Crawford is just absolutely striking out everybody within range. Carlos Correa is going to stand up to the plate with 2 outs and a man on second. We'll see what Crawford can do. It'd be really great if he could take us to the next inning. That's going to be a walk. 4-pitch walk, not great. Does seem like Cutter is probably tiring a bit, but we'll see. Royce Lewis at the plate. I would not pitch to this man. Absolutely not. And it looks like we did. Are you kidding me? Wow. Royce Lewis is he's having the game of his life. That's a 3-run shot. And all of a sudden, Cutter Crawford's incredible outing goes to terrible. And it goes from bad to worse for your Boston Red Sox. That is tied for a playoff record for home runs in a game with 3. Liam Hendricks is going to come out to try and clean up what's left over. He has the Cutter Crawford role from last time around. This should be easily caught in left by Duran, and it is. So the hill just keeps getting steeper for the offense, but we'll see what we can do as we come down to the bottom of the 4th. Joe Ryan's still in the game. It feels like he's been in here for forever, but his offense has just been so prolific through 4. And that one's going to be a ground out to the shortstop from Vaughn Grissom. Easy out there, and they are going to take Ryan out. So this is going to be Josh Taylor up against Jarren Duran. So maybe a chance to get into that soft Minnesota bullpen. We'll see. We definitely want to get into the middle part of it because the back end is pretty scary. This one is going to be hit maybe just over Correa. It gets down, and that'll be a single for Duran as we try to get something going here. Trevor Story now up. See if he can get anything going. That looks hit pretty hard. Outfielders are staring at it. I think you know what that means. That is gone over the red over the red monster? Over the green monster. And the Red Sox make up a couple. So 10-5, and the gap narrows just a little bit. They're going to leave Taylor in to wear this one a little bit as they presumably get somebody warmed up in the bullpen. And Reese McGuire, if he could just get on base, we get to Rafaela, who could do something with it. But that is an ugly, ugly swing from Reese McGuire, and we go to 2 outs. And they're going to stick with Josh Taylor up against Ceddanne Rafaela. Let's see what he can do. Count is 2-2. Gets it in play. Is it going to drop? No, it is not. So Kepler gets to that one. And we end the inning, but we get something out of it. 10-5. It's a tall hill, but our offense is kind of cooking today. So who knows? Maybe in the middle of that bullpen, there's something there. This is going to be a amazing diving catch by Rafaela. Unfortunately, he looks like he might have hurt himself. No, it's not serious, so thank goodness for that. But an amazing catch from Rafaela. Wallner goes down. And Gleyber Torres is going to be the next man up as the Twins look to extend their lead, but he's going to strike out from Liam Hendricks, and Joey Gallo now up at the plate again, has a platoon advantage, and he strikes out, as he often does. So, clean inning, finally. We had one, but feels like a long time ago now somehow. And the Twins are for some reason leaving Josh Taylor in for uh, unfathomable reasons, but it's going to be the top of our lineup, so it's a good thing for us as Wilyer Abreu steps to the plate. It is lefty on lefty, but that is not going to matter for Wilyer Abreu as he is probably going to get a double out of this. Throw comes in, and he is, I think, safe. Yeah, should be good. So a double for Wilyer Abreu to lead off, and Josh Taylor gonna try the old lefty split on Masataka Yoshida, but I'm not sure it's really gonna matter. We'll see. Full count on Yoshida, and he's gonna take a walk. So he's been on base quite a bit this game. And now we are going to bring up Tristan Casas, who lefty on lefty does matter a lot for him, unfortunately. But we'll see if he can outperform. And I think that that's going to be a can of corn in center. And it is. No problem for Buxton there. And yeah, Casas continues what is not a great game for him. But Rafael Devers comes to the plate. And at this point, Josh Taylor has to be exhausted. 27 pitches in. Devers not as good against lefties, but he's still Rafael Devers. So we'll see what he does. Unfortunately, he goes down on strikes. So I really would love to get something out of this inning, but it's not looking great right now. We do have 2 outs. Vaughn Grissom at the plate, and they finally changed the pitcher over to Carlos Estevez to maintain the platoon advantage. Vaughn, help me, man. We need it. Wild pitch, and that is going to advance everyone. So Carlos Estevez throws that one into the seats, and now we've got man on second and third, so a single could score 2 if we're really ballsy about it. We'll see how it goes. Vaughn, we need something. Unfortunately, that's not going to get it done. So that'll end the inning. Royce Lewis gets it to first base, and we get nothing out of what was a really promising start to the inning. Top of the 6th, and now Jesus Luzardo is going to come in to try and lock this thing down for us as he faces the lefty-righty-lefty of Kepler, Vasquez, and Julian. We'll see how he does on 1 day of rest coming in relief. First batter up. That is hard contact up at the wall, and this is probably going to be a double from Kepler. Not great from Luzardo. And not a great start to this inning. We really would love to keep this gap just to 5, because 5 is enough. Christian Vasquez now up at the plate. He strikes out. So that's nice for Vasquez, or that's nice for Luzardo. And Julian now up with Kepler at second. And did he go? He did not. So ball 4. And we've got first and second now. Carlos Correa at the plate. Giovanni Gallegos is going to replace Jesus Luzardo. It was always going to be a tough thing for Luzardo to come in on limited rest and pitch in relief. Unfortunately, he did not do the best job, and now it falls to Giovanni Gallegos, who's probably going to have to take us at least 2 innings, if I had to guess. And he does his job, strikes out Correa. Still has runners first and second as Royce Lewis comes up. If Royce Lewis hits another home run here, he deserves it. Okay, we walk him, which is not the worst outcome. And we are going to find Byron Buxton as the man to beat. Could be a really bad inning for us. Could be just kind of a nothing inning. And we do get him to swing and miss. Strike 3. Gallegos gets him on a changeup. And we move to the bottom of the 6th with the game more or less still alive. But unfortunately, we're getting toward the back end of that Minnesota bullpen. And it's going to start getting kind of tough. Steven Okert is the first guy to come out in the bottom of the 6th. Jaron Duran leads us off. Trevor Story behind him, and then Reese McGuire as our third batter up. This one is going to be popped into foul territory and amazingly caught by Julian. So that's going to be one out. Trevor Story now up. Let's see what he can do. Swing and a miss, strike three. So not a lot going on in this inning for us. Would love to just, maybe give Steve Nokert a couple more pitches on his resume. But that one is going to be weakly grounded. Torres puts it to Julian, and that is going to be the end of the inning. So 1-2-3 for the Red Sox. And we're not feeling too good right now. As Giovanni Gallegos comes up to face Wallner, you imagine he'd probably face Torres and then, depending on pitch count, Gallo, but we'll see how it goes. And we're going to have a rain delay. So that's not great. 22-minute rain delay. Gallegos is going to come back out for it. So we'll see how that rain delay might have affected him or might have affected the hitters. And Gallegos looks like nothing doing for him. First pitch, well, he gets a strikeout and then is immediately replaced. So, it happens. And tough rain delay for him. And tough rain delay for us having to take him out. Probably a batter sooner than we would have liked to. But Brennan Bernardino is going to come in here against Gleyber Torres. Full count on him. And that one is hit sharply into right field. That's going to come off the wall. Should be an easy double. Don't think he's going to get to 3, so that'll be Gleyber Torres on second and Gallo up behind him, which is always a rather frightening proposition. We'll see how it goes. And that is going to be a strikeout. So McGuire doing some good framing in this game. Gets us to 2 outs. And Kepler is the only thing standing between us and the bottom of the 7th. Here's the pitch, and that should be easily dealt with by Story. No problems there, and we go to the bottom of the 7th. Okay. Justin Topa now going to be the guy we face as the lineup starts to flip over. We would love to get at him because it might be our last chance if Yohan Duran can come in for a 2-inning save. So we'll see how it goes. Topa is pretty good, but I wouldn't say that he is setup caliber necessarily. That is going to be a ground out, though, which comedy of errors from the Twins as Julian underhands it to first and Topa misses it. So Rafaela goes to second, and that is probably the last thing you want to see if you are the manager of the Twins. Abreu, Yoshida, and Casas now with a chance to do some damage here. We'll see what Abreu can do on 2 strikes. Strikes out. And that is a really tough outcome for us, just giving away an out like that. But Yoshida and Casas might still have something to say. Yoshida lines this one deep into center field. That is going to go all the way to the wall. That should at least score 1, and Yoshida should go to second. We'll see how it goes. Yoshida easily on second, and the score is now 10-6. So, only 4 away. Caleb Ferguson is now going to come in to face Tristan Casas. I would consider a pinch hitter here if I was the manager, but it's a little early potentially, so Casas is going to face him. We'll see what happens here. 2 strikes, no balls. I don't have a good feeling about it, and I shouldn't have. Casas strikes out on 3 pitches, and that is not what you want to see. Rafael Devers up behind him, and 2 outs, man on second. A lot to gain, a lot to lose here for your Boston Red Sox. And Devers is going to get called out on 3 strikes in 4 pitches. So we do waste the man on second, but we do pull 1 run back as Brennan Bernardino looks to take down Vasquez, Julian, and Correa. Full count here, and that should be Ooh, interesting catch from Rafaela, but as I was going to say, should be dealt with and is dealt with. So we'll take that one, bag it. Julian now up to face Greg Weissert, who is not the ideal person in this scenario, but our bullpen is thinning out. Let's see who else we would have had. Maybe you could have put Merriweather in or Pavetta, but we'll see how it goes against the lefty Julian. 1-1 count, so ball probably going to be put into play. Ooh, never mind. He just hits him right in the foot. So, not great from Weissert there as Correa comes up. He should do well against this little pocket of righties if he does well at all. Correa strikes out, so that's one down. And we just need one more out to get out of this inning. But the danger man, Royce Lewis, is up and strikes him out. Let's go, Greg. Pretty good stuff from him, and we move down to the bottom of the eighth, and we really have got to start putting some runs on the board as Yohan Duran is in here. At the very least, we'd love to just waste some pitches from him. He is not yet allowed a run in 2 innings pitched across this series. 2 balls, 1 strike. Up against Grissom. Let's see what he does. Well, at least he gets a grounder in play. We've seen Julian can be a bit shaky defensively, but not going to be a problem there. And we already have 1 out. Only 4 pitches. Jarren Duran now up with Trevor Story behind him. Duran has had a good game so far, but 2 strikes on him, and yeah, that is almost impossible to face. So 2 outs, only 9 pitches, and Trevor Story up to bat. Would love to just get something, anything, but 2 strike count, and that's going to be Trevor Story walking back to the dugout with his hand between his heads. With his hands between his heads. With his head between his hands is probably what I was trying to say there. All right. Weissert is going to stay in. At this point, no use in wasting anything. We already have a 4-run deficit, so golden sombrero for Byron Buxton, but it's a bit of a hollow victory as we move on to Matt Wallner. Leave some personal pride in it for Greg Weissert as he gets a ground out to Story and has to face Gleyber Torres to send it back to the offense for our last chance at this. And he's going to walk him, so our bats will have to wait just a little bit longer, and Isaiah Campbell's going to come in to try to get what we hope is not the last out from the Twins, and Torres is going to steal. So again, not great there, as Campbell has it 1-2 on Gallo and a strikeout. So that's a golden sombrero for Joey Gallo as well. We've had some strikeout stuff in this one, but just has not gone. And our manager is not pinch hitting for Reese McGuire, which is baffling. Are we sure? Hold on. Like, really? None of them? No Tyler O'Neill? Okay. Cora and I are going to have a nice long talk if this doesn't work out. Yohan Duran, full count here. He is going to line one into left, and it's going to get down at the wall. So this could be a double for McGuire. And Cora might have just proved me wrong. Was it a managerial masterclass? We'll see as we continue to go. But man on second, no outs is a good way to start off the ninth. And Yohan Duran is at 18 pitches, so he might be starting to tire, and that's really our only chance of getting to him, I have to think. Rafaela up before the lineup turns over. Let's see what he can do. 2-2, and McGuire's going to take third on a wild pitch, so he gets 1 base closer to a run. And Yohan Duran maybe starting to look a little shaky. 24 pitches now, full count, and Rafaela could maybe do something here. We'll have to see. Duran, that is going to be something, and I think that is going to be a lot of something. Out of here. We get 2 runs. Just need 2 more, and it's just down to 10-8. And who knows? Maybe Cora knew all along that Reese McGuire was going to hit a double to line us off. But we'll see how it ends up. Will Your Brave is going to be up to start this inning, or rather to start the turn up of the lineup, as Yohan Duran stays in here. 1-2 the count, and he's going to get him on a wild pitch-ish strikeout. I hate that rule. It should just be a strikeout. It's my opinion. And Griffin Jax is going to come in here because Yohan Duran just does not have the pitches left in him. So Yoshida is going to get to go up against a righty, which should be good for him. He's on a bit of a hot streak. We'll see what he can do. 2-2 is the count, and we really need to get something started here. Here's the pitch from Jax. That is hit well. It could get the wind. It does get the wind. There we go. All right, Masataka Yoshida. How about it, man? How about it? We're putting up some runs. Could this be it? Could we be making the comeback? Tristan Cassis stands in with a chance to get us one step closer against Griffin Jax. Unfortunately, he's going to strike out, so we give up another one of our outs, and this is really down to the wire. If you want a drama, we got drama for you. 2 outs, nobody on. Rafael Devers here, 1 run behind. All it would take was a big swing of the bat to get us there. He has not had a good postseason so far. Can he redeem himself? 1 ball. And no, it's just going to be a weak grounder. Oh, what a tough way to end it. Torres to Julian, and they get past us 10-9. Our pitching and our defense really let us down there. Offense did just about all it could. Masataka Yoshida tried to put us on his back. So did Jarren Duran, and just couldn't quite get there, unfortunately. So that is not going to be great. But we did make the playoffs this year, and we can be proud of that. Won the division. Now it's time to start thinking about the off season. So, with that in mind, I think we've been recording for about 32 minutes. We're going to do just the first part of the offseason. So we're going to go until the playoffs end. We're going to see who ends up winning the World Series. And then we're just going to do sort of a season wrap-up, decide on the coaching staff, if they're going to stay, if they're going to go. We are going to start a charity, because that's always good. Anybody from Korea that we want to pay attention to? No, not really. So we'll move on to the end of the playoffs, if I can stop being interrupted. Figure out kind of what Cora's place is going to be in this, and the rest of his coaching staff, if we feel like they are good enough. And we'll get to experience the international amateurs for the first time as well. Let's see, is this just work ethic is not low, potential is at least 5 stars? Yikes. So only 1 guy, but potentially a really good 1 guy. Luis Bracero. Definitely want to invite him to training. And then we will let our scout handle the rest of it. Not a great IFA class, it looks like. Although they did make a tweak to sort of make it so that not everyone was 5 stars in the IFA classes. So we'll see how that goes. He will work them out and try to get a better feel for them. It's going to be the Braves versus the Guardians in the World Series. And this one is going to come right down to it. Game 7, Braves take it. If you asked me at the beginning of the season, I wouldn't have been surprised. They would have been among my top choices. So they take a World Series title, and we achieve some owner goals, and we're going to get some new ones. So nobody exceeded expectations, nobody disappointed, so we feel basically the same about those international amateurs. Looks like our payroll has been slightly raised, which is great. Would love it a little bit, more raised potentially, but we'll see how we get on. Our owner wants us to upgrade at center field, reach the playoffs, have a final total balance of 30 million. Okay, so you didn't raise our budget, you just I mean, I don't have to do it, but I feel like I'm being told to do it. Bring more of my drafted players to the team. I've had one draft, man. Relax. Increase fan interest. I think we can do that and reach the World Series in the next 6 seasons. So that's the one that really matters. I think we can be on the way to that. We don't have anybody in the top 10 prospects, but now is the time to assess our team. So let's take a look at our pitching stats and just sort of go through how these guys did. We will sort by pitching WAR. So our most valuable pitcher, it didn't come all with us, was Patrick Sandoval. Ground ball pitcher, could be useful in a park like ours. He was really good, struck out almost 10 batters per nine, didn't walk a ton of guys. That's not really what his ratings say, but that's what his track record says, at least for this year. So I think we're pretty happy to have him. Jesus Luzardo is next up, although he did struggle with us a touch. And he was not really as good as Sandoval this year. Struck out a ton more batters, but definitely the walks were an issue. The home runs were a little bit of an issue. Um, got BABIP'd a little bit, maybe, in his stint with us. But, you know, tough to say, to be totally honest. But at the very least, I think it's workable multiple clay that we could turn into a 27-year-old ace. Nick Pivetta, pretty terrible year for us on the surface, but he did have a 4.25 FIP. And yeah, it's just the homers, I think, really is the main thing with him. If he could get those in check, he strikes out enough guys. He doesn't really walk too many. Just gives up too many homers, and uh, his BABIP was a little bit out of whack this year. So we'll see. We'll see what we can work out with him. Brian Bello, youngest of our starters, I believe. Yeah, had an okay season. 4.28 FIP. It's probably pretty league average. He's an extreme ground baller. He has some room to improve up to his potential ratings. Had a very similar line actually to Sandoval, just gave up a lot more home runs. Had a lot more issues with people just getting hits on him, which could be a bit of our defense, so that's something to take into account. Kenley Jansen, obviously he's 37 and getting older, but he had once again an incredible season. Struck out a ton of dudes, didn't allow home runs. Hard to ask anything more from that, more than that from your closer. I cannot speak today for some reason, apparently, but whatever. Tanner Houck, terrible season. Not much to be redeemed there. Um, yeah, even his FIP was terrible. So we definitely need more starters, ideally, but we knew that at the deadline, and that's what we tried to add. Cutter Crawford had kind of an okay year as a swingman. Let's see. Did anybody else stand out from maybe a reliever who just kind of shut things down? Julian Merriweather was good. Um, a little bit less so after we traded for him, but BABIP stuff. Obviously his control was terrible, but it's always nice to have a guy who you know can just maybe strike a couple of guys out in a pinch, and if he doesn't have it, you can pull him. Isaiah Campbell, um, had a pretty decent year. Not anything special, but you do need middle relievers that can just put up decent innings. Other than that, nobody else really stood out. So that's I think that is definitely something to pay attention to if nobody's standing out on that front. I think Luzardo and Sandoval are a pretty good baseline, but we'll definitely need to add to it. On the lineup side of things, Connor Wong had a great season. It's probably mostly BABIP if I had to guess. Let's see. I don't want to denigrate him for no reason. Um, yeah, 387 BABIP. So I'm not going to believe that, but it's nice that he put it up. Devers, obviously, great season. He's Rafael Devers. What can I say? Wilyer Abreu, definitely better than we would have thought. Um, Probably could have done more, but he was limited in the number of games he played, so it's understandable. Cassis, actually, in my opinion, had kind of a disappointing season because he had a really high BABIP, and he just didn't really do all that much. For a guy with 60 power and 65 I just expect a little bit more probably. So we'll we'll have a think about that. Masataka Yoshida had a BABIP-driven, really good season. He was kind of a playoff hero for us, but I think it's worth questioning whether we want to keep him on that huge contract. Um, Jaron Duran, really good season for us. Played great left field. Yeah, not much more to say. So a lot of these young guys really stepped up their game and put together seasons that we didn't necessarily think was their level. Now, he did get lucky with BABIP, so he'll come down, you would think, but he's also very fast, so some of that might be true. Trevor Story, I was not impressed with. He barely was above average, and he had a huge BABIP. Would love to move on from him if we get the chance. Bobby Dahlbeck was actually pretty decent in relief. Tyler O'Neill had a bad season, even with high BABIP. I don't love him, to be honest. Emmanuel Valdez was fine as a backup. I don't love that he can't really play a lot of defensive positions. Maybe he'd be more valuable in the outfield. I'm not sure. But we might look around for somebody who's a little bit better. Vaughn Grissom just never really quite did it for me, to be totally honest. Um, had a good year at shortstop as a sort of, glove first player, but um, just the power was not there, and I'm not sure it will be there. So that's always something that's a bit worrying to me. And Sedano Rafaela hit absolutely terribly, although he hit a bit better in the playoffs. But the main thing he's here for is that center field defense. And as long as he keeps playing good center field defense, he's going to have a job. Put up 1.2 WAR despite being that far below average. Very similar season to Von Grissom, if you think about it. And then we have Marcelo Meyer, who didn't spend a lot of time with us, but I think should open the season as our starting shortstop. We want to make sure we handle his development well and make sure that he gets his shot. And then Reese McGuire, who was so terrible offensively, but again, he's mostly here for his defense and to be a leader. So we'll see if we keep him or try to upgrade at that position. But in my opinion, the lineup is good, but I'd be worried about regression. We have a lot of high BABIPs. There was only one person who had a BABIP under 300. That just screams regression to me. So that makes me a little bit nervous. On the pitching side, obviously we have a lot of problems. I think we don't have enough good relievers. We don't have enough good starters. It's just kind of all bad. On the defensive side of things, if we want to look at our fielding stats, I'm just going to go by, let's say zone rating. Why not? Obviously, Rafaela, really good. Duran, really good. Tyler O'Neill was actually really good as well. Devers was surprisingly good, so that's nice. Maybe he can stay there for a couple of years before he has to move over to first. Myers, wow, Marcelo Meyer was so good in his short stint. That is really good. um, and then we do have a lot of guys who are pretty bad. So Story was terrible, and Manuel Valdez was uh, so bad. Wilyer Bray was not very good, which is a little bit surprising to me. He should be better, but sometimes you have down years. I'm not going to take that too personally. Cassis wasn't great. Yoshida was bad in the field, but we knew he would be. In terms of framing runs, Reese McGuire was incredible. And Connor Wong was actually pretty good as his backup. So I'm pretty happy about having Connor Wong as our backup. That feels pretty good. Let's take a look at our coaches. So I forgot that I had to hire my own staff. So it's my fault. Good. That always makes me feel good. Um, yeah, so it was Jeremy Rodriguez making those decisions and not Cora. Um, I don't love. So he really likes lefty righting pitching matchups and batting matchups. He doesn't pitch hit that often, which is why it was so weird that he did that. Um, yeah, I just don't know. He's very aggressive on the bases. Maybe that cost us with that Devers throwout. So that's something we might look to have a strategy meeting about in the offseason. And our third base coach we were going to look at as well. His in-game running is excellent, so maybe he's just sort of on thin ice, but maybe we don't want to make knee-jerk decisions in a season when we overperformed, just because we had some bad times in the playoffs. So we might not do too much with that. The only thing that we will want to take a look at is our development lab. So, the development lab is really only effective for players who have potential left. So, for example, Brian Bello. What we can do is send him through one of these sort of 4-month, 5-month programs, and we can try to improve something that he has a little bit of potential left on, right? So, for example, we think there's a little bit more control left there or a little bit more stuff left there. Maybe we can get to some of that and take him to the level that we think he can get to. What I recently learned is that it is not good for example, players like Tristan Casas. He just doesn't have a lot that we can do. Maybe we could improve his eye half a grade, but there's just not a lot of clay to work with in the game's mind. I don't know if I totally agree with that as a way of doing things, but that is the way that the game does it. So that's what we are going to want to focus on. So I think that the best strategy that I have found, and I would love for people to sound off in the comments if you have made it this far into the video. What do you think is the best way to go about this? And who should we put in the development lab? I'm not going to sim ahead, so it won't take any of these, but I am just going to sort of go through, do it how I would do it, and then I'll read some comments if they are there. Brian Bayo, I think, would be a great guy to target for this. And I think part of the reason is that he has a secondary pitch improvement that would be easy. So I think that would probably be the changeup. And that could maybe bump his stuff grade up, which maybe results in him getting a few more Ks. And maybe that changeup generates a few more ground balls. So I think I would do him. I would definitely do Marcelo Mayer. And I would look for where does he have the most room to improve, because that's where he's most likely to succeed. He has a lot of room to get better with his eye. So that would be plate discipline is the one for eye. And then I would go into our prospects and I would take a look at Roman Anthony. Where does he have the greatest room for growth? It's in power. So want to say that power is generate bat speed, gap power is quality of contact. So we'll have him try to generate some bat speed. Let's see about Kyle Teal. I would love to improve his defense, actually, but that seems like maybe something that we work on later in his development. Right now, avoiding Ks is the place where he could really learn some things. So that would be two-strike approach. And then for our last two spots, I would probably look back on our major league roster, unfortunately, because we do not have a lot of guys down there. And see what we have. Yeah, not a lot going on. So maybe Cassis would be a good one for this. And we'll just try to get his eye at the plate a little bit better. It wouldn't be a big change, but you never know. And the only other thing I would think of is sometimes, even on people that don't have like room for improvement on their position ratings, you can still improve their defense. So I would probably take Devers in here and just try to stave off that aging curve with a improved defense at third base. So that's how I would do it. Let me know how you would do it. And we'll see what we end up doing. I do think this is a really important part of the game now, and I think it is very important to maximize it. Oh, we have actually 2 extra spots. I totally forgot about that. So why not Vaughn Grissom? Let's see if we can get to some of that power, generate bat speed. And then let's see who else has any potential on the team. Basically no one. Actually, Luzardo. Yeah, he is kind of capped out. Jaron Duran. Yeah, same deal. He's 28. That shouldn't be a surprise. Maybe Wilyer Abreu. Okay, yeah, Wilyer Abreu. What could he benefit from most? I think just more power, honestly. So Wilyer Abreu, we'll toss him in, try to generate some bat speed. So, like I said, that would be my development lab. Let me know what you would do. This is what I would do. Um, and I think this would really help our team if all of these came through. Realistically, only like 2 or 3 will. Um, but depending on those 2 or 3, it could mean a lot for our organization. That's where we're going to leave this one here, though. We've kind of looked through the team, made our observations. Probably in the next episode, a lot of trades, hopefully some free agency signings, and we'll get through the rest of the offseason as we try to make this team better and try for another division title. And this time, hopefully, go a little bit deeper into the playoffs. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.